Hello all, just me, EmPower, ramble on a ramble for you. I've had to come and walk right next to a hedge because it is so windy down here at the river today. So I'm going to be walking backwards and forwards in the same spot probably, but bear with. And this could be quite a long one because today's EmPower ramble on a ramble is about hormones. So, this is all my personal perspective on what's gone on with me in the last few months. You can see it's a bit windy, so bear with the hair flying around as well. So, possibly TMI, but normally my periods are quite regular. They have been for a good couple of years, but they have been getting a little bit lighter. So 4 days average. I stopped taking the pill about a year ago. I was on that for moods and stuff. But in the last 4 or 5 months, I've been experiencing some new things. So normally with PMS, I will get, a few cravings a week before, a few days into it, I might, have a bit of a binge of sugar and chocolate, and then moods will be manageable, but okay, a little bit different, but okay. But recently, in the last 4 or 5 months, I've had these energy slumps. Now, I think I've already done a video on it, mentioned it in the past, but these are energy slumps where 1 minute you're fine and the next minute suddenly somebody's pulled the plug and you just cannot cope and you need to go and sit down. So those have been happening for the last sort of 4 or 5 months. And I've been thinking, this is a bit weird, we'll keep an eye on it. So I've been documenting everything. And then December comes, going into January, into the new year, and I'm late. And when I say I'm late, I'm a couple of weeks late, at least a couple of weeks late, which is really unlike me. Nothing to do with being pregnant. So I thought, this is a bit strange. And this was coming into January. Now, ironically, I had started a 6-week strength, nutrition and mindset program. And the week that we had to submit a food diary was the week that I really, really struggled. So the symptoms I normally got just got exacerbated for those 2 weeks and longer that it took for me to start my period, to the point where the cravings were just uncontrollable. And as much as I tried to resist them and stop them, I just couldn't, and it was too exhausting to even try. So I sort of gave into it. So that week of submitting the food diary probably wasn't the best week in my nutrition journey, but hey, go with it. So that was that, and I thought, well, this is really unusual that I've had all this happening. And my mood sort of were dipping up and down a little bit as well, and I thought this is a bit more erratic than it normally is. And then, by God, did my mood change. My mood then suddenly became even more erratic near the end of, so the 3rd week in January, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go and get checked out, because I talked to a few people and they said, it seems that things are changing. So had to do the whole download the NHS app thing, did the e-consultation, which takes a little while. Yes, it takes about sort of 15 minutes to go through all the questions, but definitely needed. Did all that, had a phone call, and eventually bloods were booked in to be taken. Now, typical response, because of my age, they were not going to do the blood test, because when you hit mid-40, they just assume that you are menopausal, which is a bit of a sweeping assumption in my book, but there we go. So the thing that triggered the doctor's concern was me saying about the energy slumps, and they were concerned about my thyroid. I said, I want everything checked. I want an MOT, the whole works. Can you do them all in the blood? So they were going to check the FSH level, so that's your follicle stimulating hormone, which is the hormone that tells you if you're menopausal or not. Check the levels of that, do the thyroid checks and anything else. Okay, blood test done on the 29th, which was a Friday. The following weekend, so we're only talking a week or so ago, I hit an all-time low in mood, and it just literally hit me like somebody had stood me on the edge of a hole and pushed me down it. Friday evening was a struggle. Saturday I felt absolutely horrific and just felt so wretched. That's the only way I can describe it, is feeling absolutely despondent, wretched, and just awfully low. So my tactic or my coping mechanism when this happens is that I completely withdraw from everything. I took myself off social media, I stopped talking to people, I internalised everything, and I just tried to get through it. Now, I'm trained in coping techniques. I have lots of tools in my box that I'm going to be using with clients, but I didn't even have the energy to look at those for myself. So I literally withdrew and made myself go out for a walk on Saturday. My mum had made a comment, I knew you weren't yourself, but I know what you're like, you need to be left alone. And I was like, yeah, just let me go through it. Saturday, I just watched 6 hours of telly back to back, didn't do anything else, couldn't even really be bothered to make food or anything. Sunday felt just as bad, to the point of possibly thinking about sacking off my whole business venture, which, you know, I was like, my God, this is really bad, this isn't good at all. Anyway, got through that eventually, but it wasn't a very nice time. And I knew that, you know, it's all to do with changes in my body and stuff that I can't control. So started to come out of that on Monday. People had, you know, my gorgeous friends on Own Your Goals, because I'm very heavily involved with the Facebook community group on there. They'd all been messaging me, sending me voice clips, asking if I was okay, because I just vanished, you know, I just went and disappeared for a while. So that was lovely. They were all doing that. And then on Friday, so this Friday just gone, I got my results. So done over the telephone, found out my FSH level is actually low, as in it's below what's considered to be menopausal at 20.9. And thyroid was okay and nothing else was really mentioned. So I said, okay, what do I do? Now, classic response from the GP, we'll put you on antidepressants. And I said, no, you won't be putting me on antidepressants. And I said, I don't want that to be the first thing in your armoury that you tell women they need to go on antidepressants. And I said, I don't want to do that. Yes, it might work for some, but I'm not wanting that at all. I said, what else? So we discussed CBT, so cognitive behavioural therapy. I went armed with lots of facts. So I quizzed her about estrogen gel. I quizzed her about the supply of patches in the UK, because I know that was a problem at one point. I quizzed her about progesterone only. I quizzed her about testosterone. And she basically said that they wouldn't give me anything revolving around HRT because I wasn't getting vasomotor symptoms, i.e. I wasn't having sweats and flushes. So she said, so she was going to end the conversation on me saying no to antidepressants and no to CBT. But I said, look, there's got to be something. I can't just go on like this. I said, I'm not willing to go on like this. I shouldn't have to. So eventually we decided that I'd go back on the pill to help even things out. So I've just started that again, and we'll see what happens, and we'll see if it helps with the energy slumps and the moods. And by Jove, if it doesn't, I'll be straight back on to that e-consult, booking another appointment in a couple of months. So we'll see what happens. But the main point of all of this, of me rambling on for now 9 minutes, is because if you are experiencing anything out of the ordinary, if you feel despondent, if you feel up and down with your emotions, if you're getting flushes, if you're getting sweats, if you're having the brain fog, if your memory has started to go, if you are worried that you are going crazy, you are not. It is absolutely normal what you're experiencing, but please, please, please do not suffer in silence. The saving grace for me has been Own Your Goals and discovering Dr. Louise Newson, the menopause specialist and the menopause doctor, because I knew nothing about menopause when I started this journey last March, and I have done a lot of research and been on her site quite a lot. Go on her site. On the first page you land on, there's a photograph of Dr. Louise Newson. Click on that and it's an hour telling you about HRT, menopause, perimenopause, other alternatives, etc., etc. There's so much good content on her site, dispelling the myths about all the scaremongering with HRT and hormone replacement therapies in general. And I urge you to arm yourself with information. Don't just go to the doctor and go, oh, I feel a bit down. Know what your options are. You are allowed to, and you have the right to, have help. And if your doctor's first line of defence is we'll stick you on some antidepressants and you do not want to go down that route, then you say no. And if they stick to their guns and they won't help you, you ask for a referral to a menopause specialist. Yes, there are some out there. You may not get to see one straight away. You might go on a waiting list, but surely it's better to go on a waiting list than it is to carry on, you know, just putting up with it and getting on with it. And, you know, this is just what we need to go through as a woman. It's not. Also to be aware, so I found out in the last 2 days, and I've literally found this out in the last 2 days, that the results that you get, ask for a copy of them, because the NHS thresholds for things like B12 and iron are a lot higher, they're set a lot higher than private clinics. So, for instance, a friend of mine said that she had her results back from the NHS, was told everything was clear and absolutely fine, eventually went private because she was suffering so badly with all her symptoms, and they told her that her B12 and her iron were actually low, significantly low. But because the NHS thresholds are so high, they wouldn't say that, so they wouldn't treat it. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, that's just their guidelines and that's what they operate on. But what I'm saying is our GP should be telling us if we have a slight deficiency, because then we can decide if we want to invest in spending money going to have vitamin B12 injections or going to have extra iron supplements, you know. At least arm us with that information so we have the right to choose what we feel is best for our health. Things like magnesium supplements may help. That's something that Davina McCall has been using, and I found that out through her and Dr. Louise Newson. So fight for what you need and deserve to have. Please don't sit there and suffer. This isn't something that, you know, you have to just go through. For goodness sake, people, you know, women have been going through the menopause for centuries, and it just astounds me that GPs are not well trained in it and that their first line of defence seems to be antidepressants. But that's just my experience. But I have spoken to rather a lot of women over the weekend and they've had exactly the same experience. So please reach out to someone, speak to your friends, speak to your GP, ask for that referral, get the help you need. You deserve to have what you need to be able to lead your life as normally as possible. If symptoms are impacting on your life, you need to do something about it. It's as simple as that. And what can you do yourself? You can keep yourself fit and healthy. You can make sure that you are active. You can make sure you're eating decently, eat cleanly as much as you can, fuel your body as much as you can so that you get the maximum performance out of it. And also incorporate weights and resistance work into your training, because you need to keep your muscles strong because they deplete as we get older and as we head towards menopause. So bear all that in mind as well. And, you know, look after your body. I've been doing so much more stretching and Pilates this week because my body is really rebelling against what I've been asking it to do. But I know that I'm strengthening my bones, I'm strengthening my heart, and I'm getting my body to the best version it can be before menopause actually fully hits, or perimenopause hits. So there we go, bit of a long one, sorry about that, but it's something I passionately believe in, that we should all be fully aware of and we should be talking about. And the menopause and perimenopause shouldn't be a taboo subject. It should be something that is part of everyday conversation, and I think that we all need to be aware of the facts and arm ourselves with them, so when we go to a GP who isn't well versed, you can say, in actual fact, I want a referral because this isn't going to work for me if you're not going to help. So there we go, end of sermon for today. Have a fantastic day. Drop any comments and thoughts below. Happy to hear your experiences. Obviously it's a bit hard on YouTube to be sharing your experiences about this subject, but at some point I will be setting up a support group, so I'll get all that sorted out, a little community where we can all have a safe space. So catch you all soon. Over and out from EmPower. Bye.